Now we have another industry session, and again from the technology perspective. This is from Citrix. Citrix is one of the premier names in virtualization solutions, and we would like to invite on stage Mr. Dixit Roy Mahidhara, Senior Director and Sales Head, India Enterprises of Citrix Systems, to talk about how these solutions are helping the healthcare and pharma sector. Over to you, Dixit.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody, and nice to see you all here. And first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Dixit. Dixit is my first name, and I head the business of Citrix Enterprise in India. Right. So before I get into the slides, maybe most of you are probably wondering what exactly is Citrix into. Like, he generously, introduced us with respect to virtualization, but how are we really relevant to you, the experts from pharma and healthcare, right? So that's a question which I wanted to tackle, and maybe in the next 10-15 minutes, I'll take you through how Citrix is relevant for the pharma and healthcare sector, right? So let me start with some data, right? So there is a study from McKinsey, right, which was conducted in 2021, and these are the three interesting statistics from that study, which talks about when we talk about enterprises, whether it be in pharma or healthcare, hospitals, anywhere, any enterprise, right? 80% of these enterprises are trying to embrace agile way of working. That means working from anywhere in a hybrid mode, right? That means, they want to really work should not be taking them to their offices only, right? So that's one statistic. Second one is about 74% of these companies intend to make remote working as far as possible a permanent state. That means we are not saying everybody will work remotely, but as far as possible, this is going to be, the scenario even in pharma and healthcare. And lastly, 70% of the workforce in this industry is digital native, which means that these are all, right, the millennials or the younger generations, which are probably digital native, they're mobile first, and they want to really be, working from any kind of new ways of working. So this is a study from McKinsey, right? So, but at the same time, if we see, we might have some disbelief, right? So, but I just want to take you through some of the market trends which we are seeing in the news, right? These are like some of the newspaper clippings from last few weeks, right? So it all shows to some kind of pattern and trend, right? So there is a new category which is opening up, which is what we see here, right? From all these news, which is about offices getting reopened, but people don't want to go back. There are a lot of challenges around cybersecurity. What is the future of work? Those sort of things. These are some of the topics of discussion, right? So what I can very clearly see, or rather we all will appreciate here, is that the new world of hybrid work, this is what is a new term. What McKinsey has spoken or shown in the statistics earlier, we see it in reality today, right? This is all across the news, what we all are seeing, right? So the new world of hybrid work is here, and it is going to stay, and we all are probably forced to really tackle how to, engage with this kind of new scenario, right? So let me dive a bit deep into the trends more related to all of you, which is pharma and healthcare, right? So some of the experts have spoken before me about some of these topics, right? Telemedicine. Telemedicine has really taken up very much in India, and a lot of data access using electronic health records, which a lot of innovative solutions are possible in the healthcare industry, accessing this kind of data, right? Similarly, IP protection. We talked about data, IP being very, very critical and mission critical to a lot of your industry, right? And biggest trend being secure hybrid work, as I spoke earlier, and also how do you give access to any kind of application from anywhere? Like the previous speaker spoke about how, bringing the data which is protected through health records or regulation closer to the hospital or closer to the patient through accessing it through any kind of mechanism. This is a big trend, right? So in summary, if you look at it, these trends point out to two critical things, right? One is data access experience. That means the workers, the employees, so to say, in your field should have a great experience of accessing the data so that they're able to deliver their work in a more effective and efficient manner. That's the first challenge, right? And second challenge being data security. At the same time, there is a huge amount of regulation compliance which is driving to focus big time on the security and compliance, right? So these are the two conflicting but important challenges what your industry is facing, right? Another, my favorite, is to really see what's happening in the news, right? This is again, we have seen it in the news recently. 11% of ransomware hits across the world, and actually more so in India, is targeted at healthcare industry. Just imagine the kind of challenges what all of you would face in this particular industry while you have to tackle the data access challenge and balance it out with data security. I'm sure all of you would really appreciate this kind of portrayal of the data what we see, right? So the question is, how can you balance? So the important thing here is, we all know, or rather all of you would appreciate that these are the challenges, right? But how do you really balance this need of hybrid work, which is very critical to deliver great business performance in your industry, but at the same time, balance it out with the threats of cybersecurity. If you don't tackle one, you probably, your business is going to suffer, and obviously the mission which is there. So how do you really balance it out? This is the problem which I'm here to address in terms of how we as Citrix is being a partner in your digital transformation and help you address that. So let me take you through this. There's a continuum, or rather a scale. When we talk about remote and secure access to work whether through any kind of tablet or any kind of device what you're talking about, there is a scale, right? There is a scale which shows at the one end of the scale, you have a traditional VPN solutions, right? I'm sure most of you use a VPN solution in your organization through which you access some of these data or applications which are there for your employees, right? But the challenges with this solution are very many, right? There's a huge amount of device dependency, user experience, security, threats, visibility, many challenges, right? You know that there are many challenges in this kind of a solution, but probably you don't have an alternative source because you need remote and secure access to work, and you are doing it. So the industry is progressing. The next higher level in the scale, that means a slightly better solution, I would say, or rather the industry will accept, is something called zero trust network access. Today, this is a buzzword in the IT and technology world, right? Zero trust network access or private access. Some of the challenges of VPN are taken away from this, right? Like, for example, you take away the challenge about visibility, legacy architecture, those challenges, right? But still, this solution is better than VPN, but it still has certain challenges, which is about being device dependent. Device dependent as in whether you use a mobile phone or a tablet, from the field or from the office, from internet, whichever it is, there is a device dependency, right? There is a huge amount of performance challenge because most of the applications are still legacy in a lot of your organizations, right? So this is another challenge. And obviously the user side, from the user side, there is still security threat which is resulting into the challenges of ransomware, etc. So this is definitely a better solution than a VPN, but this is the next level. But what is the next level further? You all must have heard, right? VDI, virtual desktop interface, right? As a technology which is not new, which is pretty old. Primarily, I would say it is at least 20, 30 years old, which is tried and tested. And today, all these challenges, what I mentioned, whether you talk about VPN or a zero trust network access, are not going to be there in this solution. But the only challenge what all of you would agree, or rather every customer would really see, that, hey, VDI is the gold standard when it comes to remote and secure access to work. Definitely, there's no doubt about it, right? But the initial investment which is needed for this solution is high. So can we really tackle this and make it across my organization, right? This is the debate which is happening in the industry, right? So, but this is the continuum of this remote and secure work. So the next question which will be there in your mind then will be, okay, VDI we understand is a tried and tested technology. It is a gold standard when it comes to remote and secure access to my data, applications, and security. But can I scale it rapidly across many users? Currently, probably I'm only using to 10 to 15% of my users, but if I want to really expand it, how can I scale it rapidly without really worrying about the infrastructure at the back end? That's the first question, right? Second question you will have is, can it deliver a greater user experience? Today, users are all using mobile phones. While we sit here, we are working, right? We are in our mobile phones, tablets. So can the users get using a VDI technology on this kind of devices, etc.? That's the second question, right? And most importantly, can it reduce my cost? VDI, I love it, but can you deliver a much lower cost-effective solution on this? And lastly, can it cater to multiple use cases with one platform? Some questions, right, from the continuum, what I'm sure all of you would have. So the answer is yes. I would say that today Citrix, I don't know how many of you know Citrix as a company, but we are the pioneers when it comes to the VDI and DaaS, desktop as a service, as a platform, right? So we are 30-plus-year-old in the industry, and thousands of customers. In India, we have 4,000 plus customers, enterprises in various sectors running our technology and platforms. So with our new Citrix DaaS platform, you can actually get the same gold standard of VDI, but tackle the 4 challenges what I mentioned here, right? So this can really make life much, much easier for you. So let me ask you, let me make it more, fun a little bit. So you might have this question, okay, VDI, I understand, I know you are 30 years old, but why Citrix? Can this question be answered in a more non-technical fashion? I thought about it. So this comes to my mind. When you see this slide, right, what can you say? Maybe anybody can try quickly in terms of, like, this is some kind of a photocopier, some notes, sticky notes. So can you see some commonality between these pictures? Anybody quickly? Just try it out. Let's make it a little bit fun. You can't see anything? Okay. So let me say these are actually products which have become categories in itself, right? So you know that photocopier is, a lot of people use Xerox as a name in lieu of photocopier, right? Similarly, Post-it in lieu of a sticky notes, or search engine, nobody knows it, it's Google, right? Let's Google it out. These things have become, probably verbs or synonyms for those categories. So why Citrix? Why did I put this? So let me tell you that similarly, in the world of VDI and DaaS, it is Citrix, right? So today, you go to any technology professional, you go to any CIO or any kind of application, remote access application need in any organization. When it comes to a VDI solution, which is a gold standard, what I said, and also a DaaS, it's Citrix. There's nobody in the industry probably which can actually deliver this kind of an experience with this kind of a security, right? So you can safely think that whenever you want to really look at this kind of a platform, it's only Citrix, right? It's only Citrix probably which can provide both these things, which is the balance part, what I talked about, which is cyber security, and at the same time delivering a great experience to your users. So nobody in the industry can probably offer these things. So when it give you a more technical as jargon a little bit, it's whether you talk at VDI on-prem, which is a traditional manner, or you want to do it on a cloud, or you want to do it in a hybrid fashion, it's Citrix DaaS platform that can deliver seamlessly across these platforms. Similarly, if you want to even deliver a zero trust network access solution to some of your users, the same platform can actually offer you that solution, right? And lastly, any kind of application. You talk about a native legacy application, web, SaaS, any kind of application. So in summary, if I have to say, you all can take away one statement or one sentence from the session, you should remember that it's only Citrix that can deliver a great user experience in any kind of device, any network, any application, any cloud. We call it any to any world, and deliver a fantastic security, right? So with a gold standard of the security and experience. So that should be the takeaway from this session. And for those of you probably who does not know Citrix, as I said, we are a $3.5 billion revenue SaaS company. While you have 400,000 customers, these are some which are relevant to your industry, right? Pharma and healthcare. So incidentally, pharma and healthcare is the biggest vertical for Citrix globally, which is not known. Probably in India, all of you should really look through and understand that most of the pharma companies, hospitals, most of the applications, whether you talk about Epic or whether you talk about Cerner, all scripts, millions of users access these applications through Citrix, because this is the only platform that can deliver that experience and security for your users, right? So with that, I will thank you all for your time and appreciate you spending time here.